This one requires that we look at the nuclear symbol again, which I have down here in the little yellow box. So the nuclear symbol goes A, Z, X, and Q, where A represents the isotope's mass, which would be the number of protons that I have, plus the number of neutrons. The Z represents the atomic number, which equals the number of protons, and if it is an atom, it is also equivalent to the number of electrons. If, however, the item in question is not an atom, but it is an isotope, we go over here where the Q is. Q represents the charge of the ion, and we either can gain or lose electrons. If we gain an electron, it means that we're going to have a negative charge overall, and if we have lost an electron, it means that we're going to have a positive charge overall. And X just represents the symbol. So we can see from this question that we are looking specifically at nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon and various isotopes and ions of those three species. I've made a little chart here to make it easier for me to talk through, and I know that while our problem is just asking for which one contains more electrons than neutrons, that it's easy for me to start by going through the whole nuclear symbol. So if we look first at nitrogen on the periodic table, the number here, the whole number is 7. 7 represents the atomic number, which represents the number of protons. So I'm going to put a 7 here for both of these nitrogen species. Then I'm going to look at the oxygen. Oxygen's atomic number is 8, so both species of oxygen have 8 protons. These numbers that I'm writing down now will help me in identifying both the neutrons and the number of electrons. The next one, carbon, we see here has 6 as its atomic number, so 6 protons. So all three of those have 6's as their number of protons. Next, we're going to look at the number of neutrons. Neutrons is the mass number, the number that we have here, or the A number, the isotope's mass, and subtract from that the number of protons. That'll leave me with number of neutrons. So we have 14 minus 7, which is 7, and 14 minus 7, which is also 7. Here we have 16 minus 8, that's 8. Same for this one. 11 minus 6 is 5. Also 11 minus 6, 11 minus 6, so all three of these are 5. Finally, we're looking at the electrons, and the electrons are dependent upon whether there is a charge or not, our Q value, and so we look there is no difference there, which means that my protons and my electrons are the same. So I'm going to do that for all of these, identify the ones that don't have any Q value, and just rewrite the same number here, 8 and 8. And here we've got no number, so it's 6 and 6. Then I can look at my charges. So if I have a 3 negative charge, that means I actually have 3 more electrons, because electrons are negatively charged, than I have of my protons. So it's 7 plus 3, or 10. And then here we have 8 plus 2, 10. 6 plus 4, 10. And finally 6 minus 4, because I have a positive charge. Positive means I've lost 4 electrons, so 6 minus 4 is going to leave me with 2. Now I can look at my various setups here. I have nitrogen of 14 in this first one. There I have the same number of neutrons and electrons, and so that does not meet my requirement of more electrons than neutrons, so it is not going to be A or B. Then I can look at my nitrogen with a 3 negative charge. Sure enough, this one's a good one. I have more electrons than I have of neutrons, so that is one of my possibilities. So that again verifies that it's going to be either C or D. O with no charge is not going to be our answer because they're the same thing, which is just verifying again that A and B are not my answer. And so we look at the next one, 16O2 negative. Sure enough, that's a winner. So I'm looking, oh, there they are again, C and D. I can't narrow it down quite yet. Now I can look at my carbon without a charge. I have more electrons than I have of neutrons, so that's a good one for me as well. So it's looking like C is the answer, but let's see if we can rule out D. The 11C4 plus is going to have less electrons than neutrons, and so therefore is not my answer either. C was the correct answer.